My name is Edward, and I have DVD copies of each Doctor there's been, and I've watched them. This includes Peter Cushing. Yet, I have never been able to sit through one viewing of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Welcome to More Geek Than Gay. So, howdy everybody. Hope you're having a great weekend. Like I said, trying to make this weekly. This time it should come out right on time. Ha! Gotcha! Thank you all for listening to last week's filler episode, which hit the waves like an emergency, and I just went somewhere. It hit the waves. I don't even... Hey, how about those Beatles hitting up the charts with a bullet? So, we will retract that statement, even though it's now recorded for all posterity in this podcast, and just say thank you. Thank you for listening to the filler episode. Hope you all enjoyed it. We actually got quite a few listeners, so yay! And this week, we got everything pretty much going to be the way I planned last week's to be, except for this week I have the time to do it. So, I had a whole bunch of notes that have all disappeared, so let's see how well my eidetic memory works. And pretty good, because I remember the word eidetic, so yeah. First, a quick recap. Work's been going well. Actually, they kind of gave me a little talk to on Friday in a good way, which sounds like... I can't really talk much more about it right now because I have this superstition about like giving out the good news and then everything goes bleh. So I don't want to go too much into it. But on the plus side, it looks good. From what they talked, it sounds like they're actually somewhat impressed with me. They want to give me a little bit more responsibility and, you know, kind of put me in a better place up there. So, yay. And this also means that I'm currently a temp to perm, and this company is notorious for making people wait forever. The guy who's training me has been a temp there for, well, next month it'll be a year. So they're notorious for this, but with them talking to me like this, it sounds like I might not have to wait a year to become a perm, which is good because I could use some health insurance. I have medications that I need. And not for the brain things that you all think it would be. I just let those fester by themselves. So, that's going good. Joseph is still feeling better. Matter of fact, he's out performing tonight. He's got himself a little drag show. They're doing a farewell performance up at Rainbow Cactus. He's part of the Sassy Sister troupe. And his drag name is Jaji. Kind of goes with his name. Oh my god, I made that noise again. Okay, that was me slapping myself for making that clucky noise without it being the sound of someone knocking a door or something. So no one needs to hit me with the next time they see me. I've got that taken care of. That actually stung a little bit. But his name is Jaji. He's been doing this now for, crikey, I think like 20 years. Something like that. Kind of looks like a combination of his mother and Shirley Bassey when he performs. And we got him all set up. Hopefully he doesn't wear himself out because he is still recovering. We went out shopping, spending some of his Christmas gift so that he could get himself some new pants and everything. And I was a little reluctant for that to happen just because don't need him worn out again, especially with him having a show tonight. But fingers crossed. Other news. Oh, okay. This news requires a little bit of backtracking. We have a new cat hanging around outside. This is kind of significant because any of you who know me know probably that I should be qualified as a crazy cat person. Crazy cat person. Meow. Except for I don't do that normally. Matter of fact, I just talk to them. When I was raised with cats, not by cats, because that would just make me some sort of weird character out of the Jungle Book, but I was raised with cats all my life. And then after my mother died and then the family cat died, I kind of went through a little period with no cats, and it was interesting. Except for the cats that were outside that we all got fixed. They were the ones that my mother was taking care of, and they're fixed. I continued to feed them, take care of them. They're all friendly. We love them. They're adorable. But I didn't have any house cats going on. Then one day, a cat appeared outside. Little kitten. Don't know where it came from. It decided to follow me around. Oh, then his sister showed up. She decided to follow me around. He got injured. Brought him in because didn't want an injured cat outside. Had to get him all taken care of. He ended up having to stay inside to heal. Then he cried for his sister, so I had to bring his sister inside. Oh, by the way, getting him healed. I was still like contemplating, what do I do with these cats? The vet bills for him cost $5,000. He became a house cat. That's where that comes. Getting her fixed, she decided to lick herself to a new infection over the stitches, and it cost like about $1,000 or whatever for her. She definitely was a house cat, plus it's his sister, so I can't really kick her out. That would be just rude. So now there's two cats. Two cats, that's normal. That's normal. Two cats. Then Archie moves in. That's my roommate. He brings in his cat Callisto. Three cats. Okay, Joseph moves in. Three cats, three people. This is still in the realm of normal. You know, it's like, oh, you like cats, but normal. Then another kitten shows up outside. Little fluffy black thing. Adorable little thing. We're debating what to do with her because she's a she and we don't want more kittens outside. So we're like going, okay, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna get her fixed and toss her outside again? Or are we gonna get her? Are we gonna bring her inside? Whatever. Someone needs to make a decision somewhere. Decision was made. Bring her inside before she gets pregnant. Too late. She's pregnant. She gives birth to a litter of 6. So we went from 2 cats to 3 cats, then a 4th cat with her, and then a couple months later, 10 cats. This is where my little thing comes in because we have had stray cats. The outside cats had kittens before and we gave them away. And one of the people that we gave them away to was a neighbor who did not get the cat fixed. And we'd have to keep on like getting for like months. Hey, have you seen our cat? She got out again. So we knew that they weren't like getting her fixed and that she was possibly having kittens and everything. So my one requirement was we're not just dumping these kittens out somewhere. I was actually there present as she was giving birth. I had some slimy little kitten in my hand. Okay, as she's giving birth. We had to know who they were going to. We had to know they were going to a good home that would take care of them. That was my only requirement. Well, we never found those people. We found someone who was going to, but they never had a cat before, and the cat was a little bit much for them, so we generously took them back. That was part of the agreement. All was cool with that. But that's how we ended up with 10 cats inside. 10 cats. Lurky and Streaky, that's the brother and sister originally. Then there's Callisto, that's Archie's cat. Then we had Useless, that's the mother cat that we brought inside. And then we have her kittens. Corn filled with love Bouvier. Garfield, we didn't name him head damage. Streaky Zorel. Tippy Grace Hedron. Pustule Bromowitz. And my personal favorite, the cute little, was born all white and is a cream colored cat, Siamese, Tar Baby Jackson. Now, where does the extra cat come in? First of all, we've been doing that. That's been fine. You'd be amazed at how many times it doesn't feel like a house with 10 cats. They just kind of hang out and everything's fine. And then food happens and cats everywhere. Roar, stampeding hordes of cats. Outside, we still had the outdoor ladies. Okay? They're fixed. They're not having kittens. They don't care for kittens anymore. Then, kittens appear. 3 kittens. So we have the outside ladies of Mama, Retard, and Betty. Bam-a-lam, Black Betty. Then 3 kittens appear, and that's the brave one, because he's the one that made friends with us first with his little tail. Then we had Clone, who looks a lot like Mama, who also has a crook tail. Then we also have Sister Brother, or Brother Sister, but it's now Sister Brother because we didn't know whether it was a boy or a girl, but now we're pretty much sure that she's a girl. And then an orange cat started showing up and bossing Mama around, but he seems to have gotten over that. So now we've gone from 3 outside cats to 7 outside cats. And it still really feels... Oh, and then another little gray cat shows up. Adorable little thing. Just adorable little thing. We were tempted to even bring him inside and make a house cat out of him, except for this little gray cat, this little kitten, hates other cats. So, Extra, because he's an extra cat, now is outside with the other cats that he hates, but at least he's not hissing at our indoor cats and causing them to all have fits. So now that's 8 cats outside, and now there's another cat. This little tortoiseshell thing, boy, so I don't think it's really a tortoiseshell. I don't know what you want to call it. I call it ocelot coloring. And we call him Brownie. I don't know why. He's not really brown. But we call him Brownie. He's really friendly, really talkative. 9th cat. We are like 1 cat away from having 2 handfuls of cats. That's not right. That's insane. That's an insane thing. We take care of them. We've been getting them fixed. So before you start like thinking, oh my God, they're pet hoarders. We're not pet hoarders. We're not pet hoarders. We are just taking care of them. We make sure that they're all taken care of. We're not trying to bring extras in. They just show up, and we actually chase away lots of extra cats. Any cat that causes a problem or whatever, we chase that thing away. And like when the dog showed up, we took it to the pound. Well, not the pound. We took it to where it would not be put to sleep. We took it to where someone could adopt it. And everything. And these, like, they calm outside and everything. And outside, it really doesn't feel like there's that many cats because, they basic. And on the plus side, I think we're the only house in town that doesn't have a pigeon problem. So, we now have a 9th cat outside. Crazy insane. That's kind of a weird update there. I don't know where that's going to go, but just thought I'd share that with you before we step into the light here of what the podcast will be today. Pardon me while I take a quick sip. My throat is getting a little dry. Glug, glug, glug. Okay, so also, before we go any further, want to give a quick little announcement again. If you're wanting to moderate at Phoenix Comic-Con, give me a notice. Let me know. I will hook you up with people. If you don't want to hook up, if you don't want to get in touch with me, you can get in touch with Phoenix Comic-Con directly, and they will be more than happy to cast you into a position in the moderators team. Okay? You don't have to be on stage if you're shy. Okay? We have other positions for moderators where you're counting rooms. But we definitely need more moderators to help us out. Okay? As I was saying, we definitely need more moderators to help us out. We're trying to have enough to go around. Sorry about that little glitch there. I accidentally hit the wrong button when I was trying to move something around. I actually just stopped everything, so everything went and stopped. But for those who just want to go to Phoenix Comic-Con, let me let you know, there is a whole bunch of guests. I believe I stated before how there's going to be basically if you can think of them from Babylon 5, they'll be there, okay? Also, Nichelle Nichols is going to be there. Dean Cain is going to be there. Garrett Wang, who from Star Trek Voyager, he's going to be there. So, you know, you got some of those going on. There's going to be some people from zombies, The Walking Dead. They're going to be there, including the new character who I can't think of the name of. Diana Gurira, and she plays the new character who walked around with the two zombies as pets. She's going to be there, and I believe the annoying little kid that they'd probably just be better off if they just fed him to zombies will be there. Nothing against the kid. The kid's fine. It's just, really, how many times you got to chase after him before you start realizing, God damn it, just get rid of the kid. As far as comic books goes, we're going to have Mike Mignola. I never know how to say his name. Neil Adams. Okay, Terry Moore is going to be there. Ethan Von Siever, who, while I can't say his name, he's incredibly entertaining. Raven Gregory, he's a hoot. Okay, he'll probably have some of his cosplay chicks around him, and that's always fun. Matt Wagner and Jim Valentino. He's been around for a while, so we have quite a few of comic book people there, and that's actually just a small sampling of people there, okay, that I'm mentioning. And then author-wise, of course, Ginny Koch is going to be there. Look for a pink hat and an entertainingly loud woman, and that's her. Janie Lee Simner. Michael Stackpole, he'll be breaking away from writing one of his many books that he writes every year, and he'll be there. And Terry Brooks, okay, Terry Brooks, for you of the Discworld fans. Yvonne Navarro, okay, these are just, again, small sampling of the people that are going to be there this year. You're going to want to try to show up if you can. Okay, I believe that tickets are, well, I know the tickets are still available. I believe that they're around $50 for the whole weekend. It may be actually even cheaper. That might be actually at the door price. So I would go to the website www.phoenixcomiccon.com. Okay, and that's Comic-Con spelled with just, well, COMICON. So it's not Comic Con, it's comiccon.com. And you can, that's where you can also look to be volunteering. That's where you can also look to be getting information about how much tickets cost. Okay, so go there. Hope to see you all there. That said, let's get into this week's meat and potatoes. I said earlier we're going to talk about women, and gosh darn it, women is what we're going to be talking about. Now, first, I want to hit on the idea of, well, let's actually dig into the first topic, and then we'll go somewhere with this. First topic is going to be Star Trek women.
Trekking across the universe.
On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk.
Star trekking across the universe.
Slowly going forward 'cause we can't find reverse.
Lieutenant, report.
There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, Jim.
Analysis. Restart the spark.
It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, not as we know it. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, Captain.
There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, Jim.
Star trekking across the universe.
On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk.
Star trekking across the universe.
Slowly going forward, still can't find reverse.
Medical update. Dr. McCoy.
life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, not as we know it. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it. Captain.
There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, Jim.
Starship Captain James T. Kirk.
Ah, we come in peace, shoot to kill, shoot to kill, shoot to kill. We come in peace, shoot to kill, men.
It's worse than that, he's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. It's worse than that, he's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead.
Well, it's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, not as we know it. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it. Captain.
There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow. Scrape them off, Jim.
Star trekking across the universe.
On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk.
Star trekking across the universe.
Slowly going forward as things are getting worse.
Engine room. Mr. Scott.
You cannot change the laws of physics. Laws of physics. Laws of physics. You cannot change the laws of physics. Laws of physics, Jim.
Ah, we come in peace, shoot to kill, shoot to kill, shoot to kill. We come in peace, shoot to kill. Scotty, beam me up.
It's worse than that, he's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. It's worse than that, he's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead.
Well, it's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, not as we know it. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, Captain.
There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow.
You cannot change the script, Jimmy. I'll see you, Jimmy.
It's worse than that, it's physics, Jim.
Bridge to engine room, warp factor 9.
If I give it any more, she'll blow, Captain.
On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk.
Not just any old Star Trek women. We're talking Star Trek, the original series women. Why? Because these are the hottest Star Trek women there are. Okay? On the whole. Yes, there are some other really good Star Trek women out there. Don't get me wrong. Okay? We can, you know, I don't know, maybe Janeway in a two-piece bikini or something. I don't know. You know, Crusher was a dancer. And, you know, Deanna Troi had those boobs out there that could, you know, possibly tempt Dr. Solar or oh, what was her name on Enterprise? Oh, the sexy drug addicted Vulcan. But we're talking Star Trek, the original series. Why? Because you pretty much couldn't throw a phaser on that show without like striking a pretty woman. Although I don't know why you'd want to throw a phaser at them. That'd just be really, really rude. We're looking at like Kirk's woman. See, this is where my notes are slightly falling apart because I had a list, and now I'm having to try to remember their names from memory. Kirk's woman from the Mirror Universe, Dr. Marlena Moreau, I believe was her name. We had Joan Collins, who was on there. Sally Kirkland, who went on later to be Hot Lips in the movie MASH. Mariette Hartley, wearing like some sort of cave bathing suit thing while trying to take care of a overly emotional Spock. These weren't even the hottest women. Well, Kirk's woman. Kirk's woman is easily one of the 3 hottest women to ever be on Star Trek, ever, ever, ever. If you don't know who she is, all you need to do is type in Kirk's woman into any search engine and look for pictures. Hot chick. Hot chick. Possibly one of the only Latina chicks to ever be cast into any of the Star Treks ever. And hot chick. There's hot chick. And drag queens, take note. You need to learn what wig she has, because that is an exquisite wig she's wearing. And drag queens don't wear enough wigs like that. Okay? But, other than her, Joan Collins wasn't even the hottest chick ever to be on there. Okay? We have a whole slew of other hot chicks that were on there. Okay, Yeoman Rand, the blonde chick who was there for the first season before the actress became drug-addled and puffy, and they just couldn't fuzz out the camera enough, and they had to get rid of her. Hot chick. She was pretty hot. They had, I believe, a Lieutenant Lincoln that you only saw once, but she was very noteworthy. She just basically pressed a button and said, "Captain, everything's okay down here in engineering." But she was hot. There was the Muds women who came on board who like took a little pill and became pretty, and actually, later they were given a sugar pill and they still became pretty because it's all in the mind, whatever. And then we have, we have 3 of the 5 hottest women, or for me, to have ever been on TV. Well, 4.5 hottest women. On this, we need to backtrack again. This is going to be an episode with a little bit of backtracking. Okay? I went through most of my life not realizing I was gay. I knew I was a geek. There was never any doubt that I was a geek, but I did go through most of my life not realizing I was gay. Just never thought of it. Just, it wasn't a thought in my head. Even after having a boyfriend, it took the second boyfriend for me to figure out, you know what? I guess I'm gay. Okay? And then, and it's arguable that it's the third boyfriend, because I even in high school, like, had this guy that I was kind of friends with. We spent the night, we kind of, and then one day he called me up to, like, tell me how he felt, and I told him, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. We're just kind of having fun because I'm straight." Or and to this day, my other half blames me for breaking his heart, and I sorry about that. We will actually count you as the first boyfriend on sheer technicality, because for all intents and purposes, we were. So I guess it took the third boyfriend before I figured out anything. Why? Because of these 5 women on TV. 5 women who were actually on TV before I was born, yet maintained their TV presence in reruns enough to keep me titillated. Okay, we got Julie Newmar, who was the first and hottest of the Batman Catwoman. Hot chick. She also appeared on an episode of Star Trek. Not so hot there. But she had her own TV show before she went on to be Catwoman, where she, My Living Doll, where she was this voluptuous kind of robot thing. Hot chick. Then Diana Rigg, Mrs. Peel from the Avengers. Okay. And if you have not seen her in her little cat suit, or in her Queen of Sin outfit, then you're missing out. Never been another spy woman. And Diana Rigg is the only woman to have ever been hot enough to land herself a Bond. Okay? She got married to James Bond. She died just mere minutes after marrying him, but she got married to James Bond, and he's never married anyone else. So there. Beat that in hotness. Susan Day, she's kind of the half. Susan Day was the girl I always wanted to have as my girlfriend from the Partridge Family, and even like watching her now, I'm like going, "Oh my god, I remember why I had a crush on her." But hot's not really the right word for Susan Day. Okay? Doesn't mean I didn't have a crush on her. Doesn't mean that she wasn't one of the reasons why I kept on thinking, no, I like girls. Just, she wasn't hot per se. She was definitely hotter than Christy McNichol, which is like the teenage hot heartthrob girl that they kept on trying to shove down my throat during my youth. Okay, I still remember seeing posters of Christy McNichol in a bathing suit and like going, it's a boy, right? But Susan Day, and I don't even care that in the movie Looker you got to see her naked and you get to see that her boobs are a little wonky. I don't care. She's still Susan Day. I still love her. Okay, it's just kind of like Dean Cain. Now he's letting himself go a little bit. He's still Dean Cain. I'll still stalk him. I don't care. Then Yvonne Craig. Yvonne Craig did 2 Elvis movies. She was a Green Orion slave girl in an episode of Star Trek, and better than the first Green Orion slave girl that we ever see. She's the insane crazy one that's going to try to kill everyone. Ah! She also was in another cult 60s show, which we will talk about in a moment. But Yvonne Craig is one of the hottest things to have ever been on celluloid in the 60s. End of story. And then we have the 5th woman who made me not realize I was gay, who helped me stay in the closet inadvertently for the longest time. And by that I mean Miss Nichelle Nichols. Okay? Hot, and she had the advantage of being someone that if I ever did meet her and like brought her home to my family, my Southern Baptist family, I'd have the advantage of just really ticking them off a lot. Okay, we might not even be able to get into the door. The kiddie table might not be allowed to for us, but I wouldn't care. Hot, intelligent, sassy, sexy. What more do you want out of a woman than Nichelle Nichols, especially as Lieutenant Uhura? But Nichelle Nichols had more going for her than just being Lieutenant Uhura. Okay, she had a long career prior to that. She started out as a singer and as a model. She worked with the Duke Ellington Band, okay, traveling around Europe. She did some TV stuff. She was in the movie Porgy and Bess, although apparently you have to really hunt for her in that. She did an off-Broadway show that was supposed to go to Broadway, and that was called, this one I need to look up real quick, Kicks and Company, which was basically a satire of Playboy. I've never seen it, so this is how I'm going to have to look this one up. This is kind of what got her attention. She was a young lady being tempted by the devil and by the magazine to pose for Orgy magazine. Ooh! Ironically, when the show closed, she got the attention of Hugh Hefner, who saw her, and he got her a job in the Chicago Playboy Club. Then she went on to TV, where she did a couple shows, including Lieutenant, where she met Gene Roddenberry, who was the writer and I believe creator of the TV show The Lieutenant, and liked her work and brought her in to be Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek. This is where everyone knows her. That's not the end of her career, okay? Like I said, she started out as a singer. She's put out 4 albums. If you look up her bio everywhere, they only say 2. They only say 2. I think even her own website only says 2. Okay, Down to Earth and Out of This World. And that's wrong. She actually put out a 4-song album before that called Dark Side of the Moon, which has nothing to do with Pink Floyd, but that would just be awesome. But Dark Side of the Moon actually features my favorite song of hers, a tune called Starry Eyed. Fantastic little song. I can't find an MP3 of that anywhere to save my life. And right now I can't even find my copy of it. But once I get my copy, I'm going to find a way to burn that to MP3. And I will put it on my iPod and listen to it, because it's a beautiful song. And she also did another one that was direct to cassette called Uhura Sings. A couple nice little songs on it. Admittedly, not the fault. Her voice, fantastic. She has a fantastic range, fantastic control. Songs, about 50% of the songs on these albums, although Down to Earth, I believe, is the CD where was the first of the 2 that are normally considered her 2 albums. That one's actually pretty much good. It's kind of funky, kind of groovy. I actually love most of the songs on that one. The other one, you do want to listen to her singing the theme from Star Trek, even though the words to the theme from Star Trek suck. Her singing it, and then they start hitting in with the like disco beat in the background, everything. Fantastic. But again, this is still not the end of her career. Okay, that's not the be-all. She also has worked with NASA Okay, she got involved with NASA and was a recruiter for them. Still is. Okay, you may have heard of an individual named Sally Ride, recruited by Nichelle Nichols. Okay, the first black man in space, recruited by Nichelle Nichols. 2 of the crew for the Challenger, unfortunately, the Challenger, but 2 of them recruited by Nichelle Nichols. 2 of the people who are now currently in charge of NASA, recruited by Nichelle Nichols. Nichelle Nichols has been very much involved with our space program, okay, which is something most people don't even realize. And she's put out other movies. There's a movie that she did that I'm actually trying to get a copy of that recently that I've heard very good things about. Kind of a weird political thriller horror movie. It sounds almost like it would be torture porn, but it's actually got more of a plot and everything going on to it. What it's doing makes sense in the story from everything I read, and it's called The Torturer. And if anyone can give me a heads up on where I can get, or better yet, just send me a copy of that. I'm not going to apologize for that one, because that one actually was a cheesy wink moment too, with a thumbs up. So that was a whole packet noise. But if you can hook me up with that, I will be a grateful, grateful man, because every little bit I've ever seen of that, all the trailers and everything, look fantastic. But Nichelle Nichols, and she was on Heroes for a little while, but then again, Heroes is kind of like Gargoyles. You couldn't throw a stick without like running into a Star Trek member. Well, actually, Heroes I don't think had that many. Gargoyles, oh my gosh. But that's for another day. Great thing, as I said earlier, Nichelle Nichols is going to be at Comic-Con. If you plan on seeing me at Comic-Con doing any moderation, well, I'll let you know where I'm going to be during Nichelle Nichols. I'm going to be in that room because I adore this woman, okay? I am not going to be moderating any other panels during that time. I plan on finding out what she has to say. So, if you want to see me, look for the Nichelle Nichols panel and come up and find me. You'll find me somewhere. And actually, it's probably going to be in the big room. So you'll have to hunt down a little bit. But look for a guy with a goofy hat on. That'll probably be me. So, Nichelle Nichols, #1 sexy chick from Star Trek. Lieutenant Uhura. Brains. Daring. Flippin' hot. #1. And, by the way, you can thank my buddy Doug for this whole Star Trek thing. Doug does a whole cyber thing. He does these vintage like pictures, and he was one time, and also works with doing a Victoria cyberpunk. There we go. Not cyberpunk though. Steampunk movie thing. And he was one time talking about how there needs to be a calendar put out of hot Star Trek women. And that just led to this whole stream of thought here. But every stream of thought of hot Star Trek women always leads to Kirk's woman, Green Slave Girl played by Yvonne Craig, and #1 on that list, Nichelle Nichols.
I've got honey muffins anytime that you want some. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? And there's a lot of little jelly rolls where this comes from. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? I've got tasty, hasty pudding, but it just don't last. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? And my little tapioca's going mighty fast. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Baby, wait until you sample my souffle. they Claire. You can take my tutti frutti way and I won't budge. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? But I ain't about to part with all my homemade fudge. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? You know what I mean? Don't you know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. Know what I mean? Ah, you know what I mean. Know what I mean, baby, know what I mean. Baby, if you like the things that I'm cooking, let me know if you are shopping or looking. I hate to tell you all the times I've been tooken by those sweet talk lies I despise. Now I'm cooking from the recipes that I have learned. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? So don't you fool around my oven or you're sure to get burned. Know what I mean? You know what I mean? Wrap me up in black diamond mink coats, purring Jaguar cars. You know what I mean? Moonlight rides in Acapulco, Las Brisas. Yeah, you know what I mean, Daddy, know what I mean.
Now, next, when it comes to women in genre stuff, I would be horribly remiss without going into women in comic books, given the fact that I'm a diehard comic book geek. Matter of fact, bonus points to anyone who can figure out what t-shirt I'm wearing right now, what company this was the logo for. Those of you who are listening to the audio podcast, sorry, I guess you can't play along. But don't worry, I'm going to try to make sure you guys get slightly better copies of the music. But women in comic books, love them. I read a whole bunch of them. I read Wonder Woman. I love virtually every incarnation of Wonder Woman except for the Straczynski or Straczynski, whatever his name is, who did Babylon 5. That train wreck of a Wonder Woman series that he did. I even like the new one. I don't mind the new 52 version of Wonder Woman. I like the traditional old Wonder Woman. One of my favorite storylines was the 12 Trials of Wonder Woman, which they finally put out in a trade paperback. And if you have a chance, go get it. My favorite story is the one against Dr. Cyber in that one. Is it great? No, but it's really entertaining and really good, and it was a definite attempt to bring Wonder Woman from cheesy, she fights giant Chinese eggs, to more of a modern sensibility. This was the bridge. But she's not the subject of our conversation right now. No, we will save Wonder Woman for another time, because she has to come back. It's Wonder Woman. No, what I want to talk about are these spin-off women in comic books. These are the female characters where they had a successful male comic book character and then decided, hey, let's come up with a girl. Yeah, that'll be cool. And then she can also help out and be his assistant. Just a little condescending. First one of all these, the Big Red Cheese, Captain Marvel. Billy Batson says Shazam turns into Captain Marvel with the powers of Zeus. Let's see. It's the strength of Hercules. Oh, I'm not going to remember this. Yeah, I'm not going to remember this at all. But I know it's Achilles, Hercules, Zeus, Atlas, Mercury, and the Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon, strength of Hercules, power or ability or whatever of Achilles, power of Zeus, endurance of Atlas, and the swiftness of Mercury. Oh, need to get rid of that. Sorry about that little noise again. But they decided that he needs a sidekick. And so, of course, looking all around, they decide, well, we already have a guy as a superhero who changes when he says a magic word. So what we need is another guy. What they did is they came up with Captain Marvel Jr., who turns into Captain Marvel when he says Captain Marvel. So making him the only superhero who can't say his own name without changing back into his secret identity. But about a year after that is when they decided, let's come up with Mary Marvel. Mary Marvel, in spite of the goofy sounding name, was actually fairly successful. She was Billy Batson's sister, Mary, who for a long time he didn't even know he had a long lost sister, and that's why she was long lost. And she had she came into the whole thing. She was from a whole slew of other gods. I believe Minerva and Zephyr is in there, even though Zephyr is a male god. Athena and Aphrodite, I think, is in there. I cannot remember all the female gods for her. She had her own successful comic book for a long time, not usually fighting the big baddies because, you know, girls can't fight the big battles, but she rescued cats from trees, and that's good. Not to be outdone, Marvel at that time, actually, I believe was known as Timely Comics, had put out Captain America and the Human Torch and a little thing called Submariner by Bill Everett. And they decided Submariner, he needs to have his own sidekicky female character. So we now have this half human, half Atlantean pink guy with wings on his heels underneath the water fighting against Nazis, and his sister Nemora, because the family is not incredibly original when it comes to names. Namer, Nemora. Nemora later has a daughter named Nemorita, who I guess ends up being a clone or something. I don't know. It all becomes a big jumbled mess because that's what Marvel does. I dare anyone to be able to recite Wolverine's origin in history. Anyone. Try it. I challenge. But I digress. DC, not to be outdone, since at that time Captain Marvel was with Fawcett Comics, and then Namor and Namora would be with Timely, later Marvel Comics. DC Comics had Hawkman, who again had his wife, Hawkwoman. Now, Hawkwoman was a little different. Hawkwoman actually kind of came out seeming a little bit more of an equal, more of a partner than a sidekick. Okay, yeah, he was in charge, but she did a lot too. When the Golden Age of Comics came out and they started cranking out these characters over again, she was downgraded to Hawk Girl, but her importance to him was not downgraded. I still insist that she's the only reason that Hawkman ever made it into the Justice League, because he could fly. Pretty much everyone in the Justice League could fly. Why would you include him? He could fly and he could barely walk through doors with those wings. Oh, we'll include him because he has a really hot wife who dresses in a costume that's only moderately less skimpy than his. Okay, so yeah, Shara Hall. Hot stuff in a comic book with wings. Again, difficult to walk through doors. They didn't stop there though. Superman, later his cousin came to Earth, Kara Zor-El, and she became Linda Lee, adopted by the Danvers family, so she became Linda Lee Danvers. And she's Supergirl, Superman's secret weapon. How can you get any more sidekicky than that? He was keeping her a secret from the world for years. Finally unveiled her to the world. And she still was always a little bit more dainty. when she had her own comic book, for a long time, readers could submit new costumes for her, and she'd try out new outfits. One of those outfits she kept for a long time. That's the one I still think of as the Supergirl costume, the mini shorts and the blouse. I kind of like it. It was a definite departure from the Superman outfit. The current Supergirl costume, you can try to tell me that that's an attractive thing all you want. All I am directed to is the crotch shield that needs to go away. Then also we had another comic, Archie Comics. They did superheroes for a while. They had a character called the Fly, and he had his assistant, Fly Girl. Again, sidekick. She was an actress. She helped him on his adventures. He'd have adventures. If she had an adventure by herself, it would be like, oh, look, there's a baby getting a sunburn. Go bring it an umbrella. Things like that. It still was pretty damn lame. Marvel took a long time to enter that world of sidekick women because it made pretty much all of its women sidekicks. There weren't really any strong, dominant women. We can kind of go into that at another time, but the men kind of ruled the roost at Marvel. And then eventually in the late 70s, under the guise of, like, we're going to enter the women's movement, they brought us Ms. Marvel, who was a spin-off of Marvel's Captain Marvel, a Kree soldier, and pretty lame-ass spin-off it was. Rogue later sucked up all her powers, and they both became more interesting for it. And then we had She-Hulk, who many people have made jokes about because of her origin. She's actually pretty much the last character that Stan Lee created, the last main character that Stan Lee created for Marvel. And her origin is she's the cousin, Jennifer Walters, to Bruce Banner, and she got a blood transfusion from him. And you know what? I don't have problems with that being an origin. Because if there's any sort of genetic thing that's causing him to have become the Hulk instead of just becoming dust after being exposed to a gamma radiation bomb, then maybe she has that same genetic trait, and therefore, exposed to his irradiated blood, perhaps she becomes a big, giant, green, hulking thing too. Love She-Hulk. Okay? She actually always had a little bit more control over it, and she just kind of enjoyed being She-Hulk more than being little Jennifer Walters. Okay. Then there was Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman, who I've joked about previously. Spider-Woman came about pretty much no connection to Spider-Man. But she came about because they wanted to make sure that no one else could put out something called Spider-Woman. Because Filmation Cartoons was thinking about putting out something that they later called Web Woman. But they were talking about, oh, we can put out Spider-Woman. No one else has done that. And Marvel said, holy to the hell no, you not do that. And like in a month, they cranked out this hideous origin for Spider-Woman where she was actually an evolved spider. And they later abandoned that when they gave her her own comic book. And she's been reasonably interesting with a horrible origin. Took her forever to meet her own Spider-Man. All of these women actually got to have their own adventures independent. All of these women have pretty much failed their own comic books. She-Hulk is actually the one that ended up being the most successful out of all of them. Spider-Woman has had, because come and gone. Another interesting trick with female characters is that they typically don't get to keep their own name for that long. Hawk Girl, there's been 2 different Hawk Girls. I can't remember the name of the other one. But Ms. Marvel, there was another Ms. Marvel. She appeared in Fantastic Four. She looked kind of like the Thing. She-Hulk, there's now a red She-Hulk. Someone took her place for a little while. Now there's 2 She-Hulks. Spider-Woman, there's been 4 flippin' Spider-Women. Okay, and some of them have had their own comic books. while Marvel gives them their own adventures and tries to make them strong, they don't get to keep their own names because they're not important like the male characters. To which I am going to declare the queen of all the spin-off comic books, the only spin-off characters, the only one who has actually become a strong, independent character of her own. You could argue Supergirl. You'd be wrong. She's still, no. The queen of all the spin-off superheroes is Batgirl. And by Batgirl, I don't mean Betty Kane, the original Batgirl from the 50s, who later was reinvented into a much better character called Flamebird. I don't mean Cassandra... Oh, what the hell was her last name? Oh, Cassandra Cain, some weird ninja Batgirl with the outfit of Catwoman from the movies. I don't mean Stephanie Brown, who had originally been a character named the Spoiler, and her father is a villain, and so she decided to be a hero, and first was a Spoiler, then was Robin, and then was Batgirl. I don't even mean Barbara Wilson, which was from the movie Batman and Robin, which the less said about, the better. No, I mean Barbara Gordon, the daughter of Commissioner James Gordon, who figured out Batman and Robin's secret identity on her own, is a computer genius to the point where Batman actually relies on her for information. She has an eidetic memory, and actually seems to be one of those people with the perfect memories, like Mary Lou Henner. They keep on saying that she has a photographic memory, but it actually seems to be more like that thing where she just automatically can see everything that's ever happened to her in her life. She's the only one that's ever been a member of the Justice League, even after she stopped being Batgirl, because the Joker shot her, put her in a wheelchair, and she continued to be a hero from a wheelchair. That's the character that you saw in the short-lived TV show Birds of Prey, played by the incredibly sexy Dina Meyer, who actually was able to wear the Batgirl costume without any irony. This is also the woman who remember how I mentioned Yvonne Craig earlier? Yvonne Craig, third season Batman, the TV show from the 60s. Yeah, Batgirl's one of the reasons why I did not realize I was gay. Yvonne Craig, Batgirl. They didn't allow her to hit. That's because she kicked everybody. But she kicked them really well because she was a dancer. Batgirl has come into her own. She finally has her own comic book as Barbara Gordon, written by the very popular and very talented Gail Simone, who has managed to figure out a way to write female characters without making them sound girly. There have been male authors, and maybe it's because she's a woman. There have been male writers who have done nice jobs with female characters in the past. Chris Claremont has been noted for his female characters. Chuck Dixon did a nice job of getting the whole Birds of Prey thing started and really forming a strong Barbara Gordon character and Black Canary character. But it's Gail Simone who really figured out a way to make the whole thing sing. And she's the one who brought out Barbara Gordon as a solo character back in the Cape and Cowl. And as such, proven that she's her own character. More so than the other spin-off Bat character, Batwoman, who originated also in the 50s as Kathy Kane, and then was later reinvented in like the 2000s as the as a lesbian and as Kate Kane, a bit more serious with and a beautifully drawn and written comic book, but not the and rarely interacts with the rest of the Bat universe actually, but still not the strong independent presence that is Barbara Gordon, librarian, former congresswoman, vigilante information broker for the superheroes. Love you, Barbara Gordon. And for that, you have earned your own theme song.
That girl, that girl, that girl, that girl. Where do you come from? Where do you go? What is your scene, baby? We just gotta know. That girl, that girl, that girl, that girl. Are you a chick who fell in from outer space? Or are you real with a tender, warm embrace? Yeah, whose baby are you? That girl, that girl. Yeah, whose baby are you? That girl.
Okay. Now, finishing out my first podcast regarding women on More Geek Than Gay, I have a couple different things I could talk about. There's a whole slew of genres out there. Okay, there's video games, and there's plenty of other movies and TV shows and books and comic books. But instead, what I've decided to do is I'm going to make an argument for who I consider to be the queen of science fiction. Now, I don't mean the queen mother of science fiction, Mary Shelley, and I'm not talking about the later princess of science fiction, the dearly departed Anne McCaffrey, and I don't mean the rebel upstart of science fiction, little Miss Jeannie Koch, who love her stuff, and I basically just mentioned her name because I know that she loves to hear her name. Hi, Jenny. No, I am talking about who I would argue as the queen of science fiction for women. Well, for anyone, actually. Now, we have Ursula K. Le Guin and Marion Zimmer Bradley, who, admittedly, I have to admit, I'm still not 100% positive that Marion Zimmer Bradley is a woman, because I just get weird conflicting information there. But I'm going to go with Marion Zimmer Bradley as a woman and let the chips fall where they may if I am wrong on that. If all my instincts and main information is wrong on that. No, those are not the two that I'm going to go with, though. I am going to go with Andre Norton. My mother was a big fan of Andre Norton when I was a kid, and she had a lot of her books around. She mainly read the Witch World series, and that's kind of a little bit of a shame because Andre Norton wrote a lot. Okay, much more than just the Witch World series. Go Google her. Go buy her stuff on Amazon, and you'll have a hard time singling out what you want to buy. Okay, she is very well known for her Witch World series, but she also, which takes place in an alternate universe where there's magic and stuff, but she also wrote a lot of science fiction. She wrote the Time Trader series, which is pretty much, hard science fiction with archaeology and time travel and, using that as a way to study other cultures. She also, she just wrote a lot of stuff, okay? A lot of short stories. One of the main things that you have to keep in mind with Andre Norton, and why I would argue her as as the queen of science fiction, is that at a time when the field was dominated by men, so much that she sometimes wrote her stuff under the name Andrew North. At that time, even Ursula K. Le Guin in her fantasy stuff, the men had the power. Okay, women were there, men had the power. Not so with Andre Norton. Okay, with Andre Norton, women had power. Okay, in her magic realms, the women really had the magic power. The men did not so much. They weren't as strong in it. In her other, she wrote men and women as pretty much equals. Okay, the women were not there to just be rescued. The women were not there to help the man by being a hearty distraction or to seduce the villain to give her some information. No, the women were there as powerful and as important as the male characters. They were heroes in their own right. Okay? A lot of these also integrated the idea that you didn't really see a lot of in science fiction. The idea of kind of a rural setting sometimes in contrast to the more advanced civilizations. She a lot of times had animals play an important part. She was very fond of cats. Cats played an important part in a lot of her books. She even helped edit an anthology called Cat Fantastic, which she contributed a couple stories to the series, and she helped edit that. But it wasn't just cats. She also, there were many animals, real and not real, that became central characters, sometimes having a psychic bond with the main character of the story. This is all stuff that, now seems, oh, I've seen that before. It wasn't seen at the time before when she was doing it, okay? This was all new when she was doing it. She came around writing about the end time of the pulp magazines. Okay, there's still actually even a pulp flair to her style. It's not as luxurious of a writing style as what you see with Anne McCaffrey or with other writers like that. You see more of a terse, action-oriented writing style that you would associate with the pulps. Okay, I mean, she was born in 1912, started writing at a fairly young age. Like I believe around the 1930s. So yeah, her stuff is going to reflect where she could be published, where that stuff was being published. And she continued to write that style beautifully, filling out full worlds with still a terse, action-oriented style. Most of your female kick-ass characters nowadays really owe a debt of gratitude to Andre Norton. Okay, Buffy the Vampire Slayer owes her heart and soul to Andre Norton. We're looking at a lot of comic book characters owe their heart and soul to Andre Norton. We're looking at like even Nichelle Nichols' Lieutenant Uhura owes her heart and soul to Andre Norton. She's the one who wrote and showed that women could play an equal important part in science fiction and fantasy. I believe that if you asked many authors, and especially female authors, who are familiar with her work, they would have to actually agree with me on this, that she is arguably the most important female writer of the 20th century in science fiction and fantasy. If you were to ask my buddy Ginny Koch about it, and you were to ask her, what are your thoughts on Andre Norton? She would respond, buy my book, because that's what she says a lot. But other than that, I'm sure that she would have to basically echo these sentiments. Yvonne Navarro probably would echo these sentiments. Simner, we're looking at, I mean, I can go on. I'm mentioning ones that I've met recently, but at the same time, there are many female authors out there who all owe a debt of gratitude to Andre Norton and her development of women as equal characters to the male characters, if not sometimes even superior characters. But then again, sometimes the men were superior characters. She did not play a sexist role with her stuff. Now, I have to admit that I am not as familiar with her work as I am with her career, which is a shame, because if you look at her bibliography, you'll see that her bibliography? Is that the word I wanted to use? Oh well. You'll see that there's a slew of books out there. And we're not talking large books a lot of times. We're talking book-sized books, bigger than a novella, but smaller than a bread box. Okay? But I am not as familiar with her work as what I would like to be. And I virtually guarantee that a lot of you are not as well. So, I'm assigning us all a homework assignment. Read some Andre Norton. Find her short stories. Find some of her novels. Find something. Okay, if you like fantasy, read one of her fantasy books. The Witch World series is a great one to start with. If you like science fiction, find some of her science fiction books. The Time Traders, the ones that I mentioned, a nice one to start with. She has a whole bunch of short stories if you would rather dabble in that. But like I said, usually her books are not super long, so you're not looking at like diving into Moby Dick here, okay? If you can't finish a book of hers in 2 weeks, don't care. Just read what you can, get back to us. We're going to talk about this, and I hope to talk about this in 2 weeks. If you already have an opinion, hit me up with it, okay? I want to learn more about her, and I think we all should learn more about her. And I mean her writing style, not her career, okay? So, that said, go find some Andre Norton and start reading.
Arcadia, X-ray, Delta 990. This is Starfleet Control. You're clear to go hyperspace. Acknowledge.
Affirmatives.com. We have situation go.
990, roger. You're looking good for translate.
Now we're at the point where I start wrapping everything up. Really quick, I do want to address a couple things that were brought to my attention. I had some responses last time. First of all, guilty pleasures. My bronies were brought to mind, and bronies scare me. They probably shouldn't. I've developed a peace with furries, so I don't know why bronies scare me. But maybe we should look into bronies, see what that is all about. I don't know. But I'm not going to just ignore it. We will look into the idea of bronies, okay? I know that the sometimes the volume, especially when I cut to music, is sometimes different than the volume for the main podcast. I'm aware of that myself because I listen to the podcast. I don't watch it as much. But it doesn't seem to, the bits that I watched, it doesn't seem to affect as badly as the audio podcast. The audio podcast, I very much noticed it. I'm going to work on getting that fixed. I can't guarantee that I'm going to get it fixed this time, but I'm going to try. And over a period of time, I do anticipate getting this kind of nailed down so it's all a nice consistent level and no scary blah noises coming out with the music. Thank you for the guess on my new temporary theme music. Yes, even Ozen's A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y is used, but it's not the main tune. Okay, it's not the main tune, and there actually is even something else in there. There's 3 things in there. There's a main tune, and then there was a little sample from Even Ozen's A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y, and something else. Anyone who can figure that out, more power to you. I'm just proud as hell of you on that one, okay? Also, like I said, need to work on losing some weight here. That's my goal for the new year, or one of my goals. I even have a little song now for myself. Everything. I'm not sure if I can get back far enough here, but like, I'm a geeky fat boy, big and stout. Here's a love handle, it makes me pout. So, I did a weigh-in. I'll put that up so that everyone can see that I'm keeping myself honest here. But it's 2:30. That's where I'm at right now.
And thus we start Fat Boy Weigh-In. And I step onto the scale, wait for it to stop flipping around. And now I'm going to bend over. And that's what we're at right now. Fat Boy Weigh-In number 2. Ah! All right, they match.
Anybody who wants to join in and give advice, if you're gonna give me exercise advice, that's great and fine. Give me something easy. Don't give me like, hey, join a gym, or hey, go jog a mile. Let's start with something that I'm likely to do. Okay, let's actually be realistic on this. Gonna start doing more vegetables in the diet. That's actually on the plan. So anyone who has any good, tasty vegetarian or almost vegetarian dishes to offer up, any recipes like that, feel free to share. We're gonna start bonding along that level too. I want to give a quick shout out. Don't forget Comic-Con. Hope to see you there one way, either as a volunteer or as a guest. If you're looking for a good cause, you're going to hear me beat this into the ground because it's a very good cause. Joshua Tree Feeding Program. Their website is jtfp.org, not com, org. If you're looking for some good Mexican food, Bitsy Mamas, they're over in Glendale. They're even aware that I do this now, so hey, hi Bitsies. Looking for a good comic book place, there's a couple around town. The one I go to, because Mike's been my man for a long time, that's Samurai Comics over on around 12th Street in Camelback. I was corrected because 7th Street sounded a little too close to me saying it was 7th Street. It's 12th Street, and it's closer to 12th Street in Camelback on the south side of the road. They actually have 2 other locations, but I don't know where those are. I don't go there. So read Jenny Koch's books. And there's that noise again. Okay. Ow, I really hit myself really hard that time. Okay. Also, Doug Montz. He does photography and DJ work, but he does these beautifully vintage science fiction-y photos and everything. I unfortunately don't know exactly his handle, what business he goes under. I think he's related to the Space Rangers Atomic Age pictures, but I think he also does his own. So Doug, hit me up, let me know what it is. I will give you a plug because you helped me come up with a subject, with one of the subjects for this week's anyway, okay? I hope to see everybody next week. And I don't know exactly what the subject will be at this moment. Give me an idea what you want to hear. I'm thinking maybe horror. That's what I'm thinking at this moment. Hit me up with some ideas, okay? Until then, I hope you have a good week. Get your geek on, and bye. Oh, really quick, I wanted to let you know that I am closing with this lovely little piece of music from this girl named Jennifer Jung. She does a lot of nice music. She has a couple albums out. Hunt her up. One of her albums is more relaxing. She did some stuff in association with a teaching association, so there's another one there's like 2 albums that are kind of relaxing. Then she came up with this later one, Red Hula Girl. A little bit more lively, a bit more like how I picture her, actually. While she is very serene and quiet, at the same time there's this spark of energy that I'm really glad to hear in this latest album. So that's what I'm going to include on as a close, and I hope you all enjoy it. If you do, look her up. She is on iTunes. I believe she has a website out there. Her name is Jennifer Jung, Y-E-U-N-G. Thank you very much. Bye. See you next week. Bye, suckers. I mean, not suckers. Bye.
I'm picking out the phone, it's 2 a.m. and I should be asleep. 3 hours later, still awake. I think there must be something wrong with me. I'm trying hard to figure if you're really in love with me. 'Cause baby, you know if it's just about the kill. It's an equally intriguing endeavor, and we can make it equally impossible to weather.
Howdy. What the hell am I thinking?